Guys, I'm here to show you a little bit about the work that is in the red folder this month. This is from our online curriculum called Unique. So they're typically for all of these pages. There will be a virtual assignment on Seesaw that is the same or similar in concept. It's just good to have that repeated practice and in multiple forms, practicing it virtually and practicing it on paper. So not everyone will have every single one of these worksheets or paper activities. It just depends on the skill and ability level of your child and where they are academically. So some of our friends have these. These are the scrambled sentences. So ideally you would have wanted to read both of the books for November before you did the sentences. You cut out each word and there's a couple sentences. So there's 1, 2. The sentences are currently in order, so you know what they are. So you can have your student cut them out, and then you can scramble them and practice doing the same. You can also have the book out and find the sentence in the book. And here's one of our books. And then you can have the sentence as a model and match. So here was one of our sentences. It says, Henry is from the past. And that was the first sentence. Henry is from the past. So you can have the book out as a model. It could be good too to like cover the rest of those up with a piece of paper, and then you can make the sentence with your sentence pieces. So that's one thing you might see. This is our first book. It's about needs, past and present. So there will be a video of me reading the book on Seesaw. And then this is your copy to go with. You can read it as much as you would like. It's good to kind of read it more than one time to practice that content area. Some of your students who might need assistant communicating or need that visual help when going back in a story will have this communication board to go along with the story. And there's a yes and a no. And then some of the pictures that you'll see in the story. So both of the books have that. And then here's another. This is some of our word family work. So if your student is working on word families, the word families for our month are Og and Ip. There's a story for each word family. And there is a sort for them, and the pictures and symbols go in the back. And again, there will be a virtual activity that they can do first, and then they could do the paper copy. If your student is working on those words on spelling, there is the first spelling list and the second list. And there are different activities, and I just kind of printed out for all of my kiddos doing words. So if they're not writing those letters on their own, you don't have to do this one. You could do that together where you could write it in highlighter and then they could trace again. And then this one is where they complete the sentences and the pictures are on the back. So those are the same for both of those. And this was the second book. Some of the students might have this page working on the comprehension, seeing if it was a story or if it was an informational text, and it kind of goes through a series of yes/no questions to decide if it was a story or an informational text. And then there's some other comprehension questions that go along for some of my kiddos that are ready to do that. And this is the second story. Everyone will have some form of these math pages. It just depends on where they are. This is an example of an addition one, and there's some subtraction. There's some that are more or less, but everyone will have some kind of math pages going over and practicing some of the skills that they're working on. Everyone will have this. This is a vocabulary sort. These are our picture cards, kind of the content and words that have been in our stories. So this is something we would do after we've read both of the stories. And then they sort it here into two circles, past and present. So when you look at this, you're looking for things. We don't typically see people wearing bonnets anymore, so that's something in the past. There will be some instructional videos on the difference between the present and the past on Seesaw, as well as a virtual sort of this on Seesaw in November. This is a little extension activity. It goes with a story about fry bread. So this is something you wouldn't do until you have seen that story on Seesaw. And then this is something you guys can do together. They'll cut out to complete that sentence. And then a food my family likes to make is blank. And you can help your student fill in whatever y'all's favorite food is. Everyone will have a journal, and depending on the level of your writer, it will either be blank pages where they could write their own sentences, or it might be the fill in the blank style that you've seen on Seesaw previously. And again, the journal will also be on Seesaw as well. Some of my writers who are working on those sentences also have this page. It's just kind of a helpful sheet to help our writers figure out what else they could write. And then for most everybody, there is a recipe for cornbread. And I'll also post this to Seesaw, and I'm going to plan to do a cooking video this month. And so there's the recipe with all the instructions, then there's a recipe review. And then there's a sequencing activity where you put the steps in order. So those are kind of both post activities, and here are the pieces you would cut out to put in there. So those are both kind of post activities to the recipe. And then a couple of the kiddos have a money packet. So this is worksheets about money if they are to that point in their educational career. And then everyone will have this patterned book. So it is like pre-bound. So everyone will have 4 pages. It's about I need things. And then these are your choice sheet to go in there. So it's a repeated book. So each page is the same, but they would put different words in each sentence to complete it. And I believe that is the end of the variety of unique worksheets that you will find in your students' folder this month.